addressed under old business. Dawn asked you to address park improvements. The idea was to have a list together, or put a task to have a list of prioritizing projects that Supervisor Fisher brought up last month in regards to the $70,000 being spent. So the idea would be to put a list together of prioritizing, or your extra opinions.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the list that was submitted by Parks and Rec, most of it was stuff that you could be enrolled
Yeah, there was a lot of infrastructure issues such as parking lots, fences, and stuff like that. Specific improvements to play areas, I think, is what we're looking towards with the capital expenditure that we've set aside for this year. And I've had an opportunity to meet with one contractor thus far and have received a quote for the resurfacing of the tennis courts. And it includes it depends on the extent of the work that you want to do on tennis courts. Currently, that tennis court, I don't know if you've ever played on that court, but it has fall in the area of 12 inches from one side to the other. So you're either playing uphill or you're playing downhill on that court. If that's to be addressed, I have an estimated cost of $44,000 ballpark to correct that. Just the court surfaces themselves, both courts, there's two options. One's a two-coat coating of the existing courts with repairs being done in-house. Ballpark estimate there is $13,000, and then there's a three-coat premium system that they've quoted for $16,000. I'm still in the process of collecting all these cost estimates in between what we have going on with the capital improvements right now. So you're going to have to bear with me on getting together with some of the contractors and collecting quotes. I would strongly suggest that the money that we do have set aside be spent on improving those two court surfaces out there, the tennis courts and the deck hockey court. The deck hockey court, I've got some experience with that. I put one in South Park years ago, and what I would recommend is that you put boards in there to put an official rink in there. It'll sit inside the currently fenced area. That way you're not spending, the court surface is very expensive. So you want to bring that thing to within regulation so you're not doing the entire lot that you have right there. I did this court, it didn't include the boards, but the deck itself is about $30,000. It's called a sport court, and it acts just like an ice does with the roller blades. They can slide sideways as if they were on ice. It's a very nice court. I will pursue that further, but those are the two projects that I would suggest that we look into for that capital money that we set aside this year.
And what's the total of the price was?
I haven't yet. I'm still soliciting cost estimates for this.
So the approximate was $44,000 plus the $30,000 on the deck hockey, but a total list of everything should be ready by next month?
I'm going to try to get that for you, yes.
Thank you. Next item was supervisor binders. Dawn, you did address the snapshot of the January to June 15th to January of June 16th. Elizabeth's task of the job task of your staff. Do you have an update on that, Dawn?
Yeah, I can continue to collect those job tasks, and they're being collated, and we'll be, I'm trying to do that over a quarterly period so that we have enough information to fill that binder.
Okay. Next item was the investigating of the two new personnel. Where does that stand?
Continue to look for new job descriptions, basing it off of other jobs availability within other municipalities, similar descriptions. I'm gathering all those. Once I get those, I'll give to the board for their consideration, review, and then the board can decide whether or not they want to seek to fill those positions or not.
Okay. Next item was microphones and speakers.
They will be here at the end of this week.
Okay. This may go to Dan or Dawn, but the ordinance creation, the rumble strips, traffic calming committee. Could you address that, or your thoughts to maybe pull something together?
Yeah, that's not a problem. I already spoke to Mike Haberman in our office. He's the traffic engineer. Mike's an expert at traffic strips. I think it would be beneficial if we put an agenda item on a meeting that the board sees fit. I know we've got a very busy agenda, but wherever you guys see fit to bring Mike in and actually talk about a number of traffic issues. There's the Cool Valley project to bring the board up to date on that project, what's been going on. There's Rising Road with the turnpike that's going to change the township around. I think everybody needs to see that. And then thirdly, the third item I think you could talk about is just give you an update on speed humps and what they mean and an idea on policy. But I think it'd be good to hear what Mike has to say on all those subjects. He's been going to meetings and representing the township. I think it's time for an update.
We have a workshop or whatever.
Yeah, I'll coordinate through Dawn.
Is this something we can do as a workshop or whatever?
But it'll be public, and it'll be advertised, but it'll...
However you want to do it. I'll leave it up to Dawn.
Some people have asked from various neighborhoods throughout Cecil, could we put watch children signs up? Does that have to be in correlation with the rumble strips, or is that something that can be done
I
individually?
think that's probably just board directive. I don't know.
Well, it would
If you
probably-
have a recommendation from your police, with all we would need.
MUTCD has really frowned upon what used to be just stamping of signs, watch children everywhere. So the requirements for the placement of those signs generally are in conjunction with a playground located nearby. So that's how they've changed. They've changed the rules and regulations. The PennDOT follows now the federal standards.
Can you get me that standard just so I can hand out to the people that are asking?
Yep, sure.
So, Mr. Chairman, we could probably put that on next month's agenda.
Well, if you want to schedule something
We'll at least have it on the agenda, and then we'll schedule something.
next month.
Yeah. Poultry livestock ordinance, any update on it, please?
I think Chris can probably address this. I know there was a hearing that was held just last Monday.
Yeah, there was a hearing last week. We have received comments from the Washington County Planning Commission too, and I believe the plan is to advertise and consider it at September's meeting.
Right, we didn't have enough time to get 2 ads in before tonight's meeting.
Well, wait, just an update so that
So
the
next
public knows it will be in September.
September meeting.
Okay. And the next item under old was the fire alarm ordinance for the Knox box. Update going.
That one's me also.
Yeah, I was going to say the fire alarm ordinance is already, we have a date set for August 8th.
That's what we're to make public.
Right, a hearing, and that's where the board will discuss the fire alarm ordinance.
We don't have the fire alarm ordinance reviewed.
Don, I believe that is the adoption of a fire code, an international fire code standard on August 8th, as along with, I don't know if we're going to talk about the Knox box on there either. But with respect to the fire alarms, Bruce and I are still finalizing something on that. We've had drafts out before, but we're still working on it to make sure we meet everybody's needs.
And I know with the Knox box, there were several comments from some of the volunteer firemen, fire chiefs as well.
I had a few comments.
Fire departments reviewed.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's right. They reviewed their copy of the Knox boxes. I was given some input, some suggestions, and provided all that input to Chris so that he could incorporate or evaluate our current ordinance.
Have you incorporated that?
Not yet, Don. I believe the most recent comments arrived today. Did you send me something today with another set of comments?
They may have, earlier this week at Pemberton. I know in one of them, it just basically is dealing with the nomenclature.
Yeah.
Knox has called something different other than what they, and I'm sorry, the term escapes me right now.
It was the
It's a difference in
brand.
nomenclature.
Yeah, it was the brand that it would be purchased.
Right, exactly. It was essentially the branding of a particular system.
Right.
They've changed names. We want to make sure that the newest brand recognition is in that ordinance.
And I believe Supervisor Fisher has some comments for me as well.
I had sent them, did you receive them?
I'll double check again. But
Okay, if not, just send me an email, I'll resend them.
I have comments and
Elizabeth,
I
who's
don't think anybody can.
talking to you?
I have comments. I'll send them to you tomorrow.
You're well, and under new business task for Dawn and or Chris, the investigation of local service tax. Got some complaints earlier this week in regards to a company from St. Clair, and just the local service taxes are not being paid to Cecil Township, but they're paying to another community. So why the task goes that way, or to you, Chris, there's got to be some definitive answer as to where those tax dollars go, and why are we paying it for 10 years to another township? Okay.
Yeah, I'll research with Keystone I know what the answer is. What I'll do though is I know what their answer is. I'll ask for a written explanation of that and provide that to you.
Excellent. And then lastly was Cindy had an issue with explanation of the village.
Dawn, I've had a number of people reach out very concerned about what the millage rate's going to be. If we could throw an explanation up that, the township can't take a windfall. I've had a number of people panicking based on their appeals, and they go to calculate it based on the current millage. They don't understand that we have to adjust it. So if there's a quick place I can point them on our website, that would be helpful.
The county offers a guideline in regard to the assessments. I don't know if you've read it. It's 3 pages long.
I've read it, but something that's maybe a little simpler.
Yeah, if you can find it, I look for. I talked with managers from the other municipalities, and several have come from Allegheny County that have a lot of experience when Allegheny County did the reassessment. You're in for a lot of headaches. And the problem is right now that the county is not giving municipalities any idea of what to expect, how to adjust your millage. I know there's the windfall
It's just simply that we're going to adjust our millage, I think would comfort some people. I know, for example, somebody literally was ready to put their house up for sale because they thought that their mortgage with their taxes was going to increase, over $600-700, which was more than they could afford, because they were simply taking their new assessment times the current millage to figure out their tax rates, which isn't accurate. So if we put something as simple as, and I can help you work out the word.
I'll send you the email, the example, and then if you want to tweak it, we can tweak it, but I'll make sure that it gets on the website.
In my discussion with our tax collector, it looks like we may be dropping our bill, and this isn't final yet, but it's going to be like a 1.25 mils or something like that. And it's going to be,
Don't put anything out until
it's
we're
going to be a
sure.
significant drop, though. Right. It's not going to be 16 at all. Well, I got a kind of an alarming letter from some attorney in Pittsburgh saying that he's kind of repeating what the assessment is on this piece of property and what the new one would be, assuming the municipality is done lower, which that would alarm some people. I knew it was kind of BS in that letter, but if you got something like that from some solicitors, just kind of beware. Our intention is to not increase our taxes at all.
Well, we're not permitted to increase in the first year more than 5%. Is
10%.
what?
10%.
10%?
I believe it's 10. I just read the county today, and then, yeah.
Okay, I think I've read 2, actually.
But that doesn't mean most years would go up as 10%. Yours could actually go down, or could go up more than 10%, but the money we take in on our real estate tax, we won't have a net income for our budget of more than 10%.
Right, it would be the aggregate total, right.
I have a question. Has the township, do we have an assessment of the entire township?
We have what the county has prepared, yes.
We have
We have what the county has prepared.
for this year?
For this year, they have, if you go to their website, they do have Cecil Township, and the total is,
But it's not
I
done
don't
yet.
say.
Can you send a copy of it to me?
Yeah, sure.
Dawn, is that done?
I don't know if
That's
they're done or not, but they have that published, and it's on their website. They have Cecil, Peter, they have all
Well,
Washington.
I know, but just because it's up there, that's not finished. There's still people appealing and.
Sure.
There's still people want
There's still
Appealing.
appeals.
Well,
right.
obviously, but if you take the total assessment of the township and knock off perhaps 5% of that, and then take our, I think it's divided by our
Common level factor, you mean the?
no, our $8.2 million budget to get the millage. That should do something.
You get an estimate of the millage by
I see
doing
what you're
that.
saying.
Or it might not be the 8.2 million, but what we actually like now perhaps. But there's a pretty simple formula that can be worked out that's fairly good that we used back in 1980 when this happened.
The county has said once the bills are over, the process is done, they will send out new tax bills for us in, I think, November. And then we're going to know then, until then.
We're going to get new tax bills?
Well, I mean, for the 2017 year. Where it'll be a new assessment.
Maybe
and
new assessments.
Right, and you'll get the
A bill is different than an
well,
assessment.
yeah, they're going to send out the assessment, then we can we'll know right away what our bills on our township millage and our school millage, so we'll have an idea then.
And then